Hello and welcome to another edition of Zakitude News, a division of Zakitude Entertainment. I have a few stories for your viewing pleasure today, although most of the stories are kind of actually sad. Anyway, first off, an Ontario jail has been found that serving rotten food to their inmates. The Ottawa-Carleton Detention Centre regularly, emphasis on the regularly, receives shipments of spoiled food, and they still serve it to the prisoners. I mean, I know it's Ottawa and everything else, and you know, the whole town's pretty much corrupted, but still, you're serving rotten food to your prisoners? A report from the Community Advisory Committee has stated that the food being served is far and away from any acceptable standard. They also found that 65 all the way up to 90% of the food being served was being left uneaten, which was leaving the inmates starving, which of course would affect their mood, the discipline, and their sleep. I mean, would you eat the rotten food? I mean, you're in prison, you're drunk for the night, you wake up in the morning and there's a piece of moldy toast with moldy butter on it. I wouldn't eat that. Now imagine they're long term, and every day they're getting served moldy food. And eventually you're going to break down and you're going to eat some of the food, which is assuming where the 65% comes from. But still, that's disgusting, Ottawa. What are you doing? You're the capital city of Canada. We are one of the leading countries in the world for human freedoms and rights and everything else. And you're serving rotten food to your prisoners? What's going on? This report is dated from March 31st, 2015, but it wasn't released until November 6th, 2015. Now, the Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services, which is a really weird ministry to have combined, is reviewing its food services and looking for how to proceed once its 7-year contract with Compass Group Canada expires. But it doesn't expire until 2017. The report also confirms rumors of overcrowding and understaffing at the facility, which the ministry has been looking into for the past 2 years. So not only has the ministry known that all this has been going on, they've known for 2 years, and they've been looking into it, but there's nothing they can do about the food situation until 2017. So they've known about it for 2 years, and it's going to be another 2 years until they get it fixed. Like, how? In more news of, what the hell, it's 2015. There's a Canadian judge under review, a federal judge. Now, the Canadian Judicial Council is reviewing the conduct of this federal judge. His name is Robin Camp, who questioned the efforts of a sexual assault victim in her attempts to fend off her attacker. The case involved the rape of a 19-year-old girl by a man from Calgary at a house party, and it took place over a bathroom sink. I know this is a very specific detail, but it does come into play later in the story. Camp was quoted as being dismissive, if not contemptuous, toward the sexual assault laws and rules of evidence. And that's coming from 4 law professors. Camp asked the victim, these are actual things he asked the victim in court. Why couldn't you just keep your knees shut? And why didn't you just sink your bottom down into the basin of the sink so he couldn't penetrate you? During the trial, Camp showed complete disregard for the rape shield provisions of the Canadian Criminal Code and the legal definition of consent. So not only did he completely disregard the Canadian Criminal Code, he just disagreed with the legal definition of consent. Said, no, that's wrong. I don't care, it's the legal definition, it's still wrong. The federal court has said that Camp is fully cooperating in this review and will not be assigned any cases in the future involving sexual assault. This guy is still working. He's still a judge. Oh, but it's totally cool. He's not going to try any more cases involving sexual assault. Or, you know, any cases involving living humans. Because seriously, that is so messed up. It's... how is he still a judge? Camp has voluntarily agreed to go to gender sensitivity training. Not only does he volunteer to, he's paying for it out of his own pocket and on his own time. Aww. All this so he can learn why what he said was bad. Which should have been obvious. And the man who was accused of the rape was acquitted back in 2014 at this trial with this judge. But the Alberta Court of Appeals has ordered a new trial to begin. So hopefully this girl will see some justice happen and she'll actually get a judge and not a caricature of 1950s corporate heads. And for our last story, we're going to talk about a man who thinks a vegan life and spa days can cure MS, being told he can't call himself a doctor anymore. Because yeah, this guy was telling people he was a legit doctor. Right, this guy, his name is Brian Clement, he's from Florida and he's a nutritionist, whose controversial treatment of 2 First Nation girls last year made headlines because he said his treatments could cure their leukemia. That's right, leukemia, as in cancer. One of the girls, Michaela Sue, quit chemotherapy to attend the institute. As this is where the story gets a little sad, she died in January because of this. Clement told the mother of the other girl, whose name is not known, that leukemia was not hard for them to deal with at the institute. The girl attended for an undisclosed amount of time, but it's been pulled out and is now back in chemotherapy, thankfully. Clement said at a lecture in Montreal that they had someone at his institute, the Hippocrates Health Institute, that reversed their multiple sclerosis. And he said this wasn't the first time it happened. He said it's happened a bunch of times. He said he had a nurse come in who was crippled with braces and everything, come and stay at their spa, and walk away cured. Now in February, Clement was ordered to stop using the title of doctor and was fined for practicing medicine without a license by the Florida Department of Health. But in March, the state dropped their investigation and the fine because they had insufficient evidence. Marcia Mondell, who was diagnosed with MS in 2008, was at a lecture in Florida in 2011 where she heard Brian Clement speak. So she went up to him after the lecture and asked him if his methods could cure her MS. You know what he said? He said, absolutely. He told her that if she went to the institution and stayed on a raw food diet and followed their plan, that his program would cure her MS. Mondell spent over $10,000 at the Hippocrates Health Institute and stayed on the raw vegan diet that Clement had recommended for an entire year. But in 2013, her neurologist told her that her MS had actually gotten worse because going to the spa and eating raw carrots, while it might be good for your mental health and some other things, it isn't going to cure MS. Clement has not given any scientific proof of his claim and has refused to give interviews to Canadian news agencies. He's brought people on stage to give testimonials, much like faith healers and televangelists do. Those people are called plants. They're paid to be there and to say what they want them to say. If he had just shown even one bit of evidence that was scientific, could you imagine the ramifications of that? It would have been huge. You mean eating raw vegetables and relaxing and getting massages will cure me of my cancer? And it's been scientifically proven? Oh, hell yeah, I'm gonna go do that. But no, he hasn't done that. He said, people come up on stage and go, this guy's methods, they totally cured me of the cancers. Brian Clement, That's not how the world works. You need proof. And refusing to give interviews to news agencies, that is a kind of proof. A proof that what you're saying is a complete lie. Because, dude, nothing says guilty more than refusing to give an interview. Alright, this has been Zakitude News, brought to you by Zakitude Entertainment. I hope you enjoyed our first official episode of the news. I hope it was informative and educational. And in the future, I will be putting news clips in and stuff like that as well. I just don't have the technology or time to do that at the moment. But you guys have yourselves a great day or night, whatever it is for you.